Hey guys, welcome to today's video. My name is Ajane if you're new, and welcome back for those who are subscribed. Today I'm going to be going through a quick list of my tips and suggestions and advice on applying for graduate school, or even if you are going into a BSW program. I just wanted to give you guys some insight and some things that I wish that I would have known when I was applying to grad school or whatever program that you're applying to. So if you're interested in the video, please continue to watch. So I will have a more detailed, more descriptive video coming out following this one. It's a lot longer, it's a lot more in detail of what suggestions I would give you guys, and I go into more detail of the tips that I'm about to share with you guys. So if you are wanting more information, or if you have more questions after this video, just be on the lookout for that one for more information and more actual, more detail. Okay, let's get started. So when you're applying for an MSW program, I have my handy dandy information right here that I've written down for you guys. I would suggest taking a look into your future. Really address and assess where you are in your life. Make sure that this is something that you actually want, that you don't feel pressured, that you don't feel like you're just being forced to do this because you want a certain position or you want to work with a certain population. Really look into what your career goals, what your professional goals are, and what you need to do in order to achieve them. You want your goals to be measurable, you want your goals to be attainable, and you want to be able to see progress over the years, because this won't happen overnight. So you just need to make sure that you kind of have a plan written down of what you expect your future to look like, what your professional goals will be, and what your personal goals are, and what you need to do in order to achieve them step by step. You have assessed all of your personal goals, your professional goals, and you've actually made sure that getting an MSW will bring value, will increase your opportunities, will increase your chances of getting the position that you want. Then that's when you move forward. So just make sure that you're getting your MSW to benefit and add value to your life and your professional goals, that you're going to be able to reach those goals. What opportunities does it open for you? So ask yourself these questions, write them down. My next big advice is to plan, save, and prepare. So you will need to plan out what schools you want to go to, your career plans, your professional plans, your overall goals for going to grad school, and after, at least 2 years after grad school, I would say plan. Save. Save is important because a lot of people don't talk about this. They don't tell you that a lot of the internships and practicums that you'll be required to actually complete in order to meet the requirements for graduation, that those aren't paid. There are opportunities for you to find a paid internship or practicum, but that's not always the case. Those of you who are wanting to also save and actually pay out of pocket, or to decrease your loans, or to continue to pay on previous loans, and you want to save as much money as possible, work while you can, work if you can, or create an environment or situation, or you're going to have to make sacrifices, whether that's moving in with your parents or some friends, or decreasing certain things in your life as far as like amenities and other lavish things that you'll need to address. So just make sure that you're actually planning, you're saving, and preparing for what's to come. This one is address your current life needs. Are you looking to keep your job? Are you in a place to quit your job? Are you wanting to work full-time or part-time? Are you currently employed? Does your employment offer tuition reimbursement? Do they offer support while you're in school? Are they going to allow you to go from a full-time worker to a part-time worker, or vice versa if you wanted to save money? Ask your human resources, ask your manager and supervisor what your job can offer, what your employment can offer in order to help support you during this process. Make sure that your job is able to understand that you're in school and that you're going to need to be flexible some days, that you need to take a test maybe at a testing center, and that's the middle of a workday that you can only go. So just really express your needs to your job and your employment, and really figure out what's going to work best for you. Are you able to do your MSW program full-time or part-time? Does the schools you're looking at offer part-time? What does the enrollment options look like? What's available to you? Look into different programs around even the United States, because there are opportunities for you to possibly move if that's something that you're interested in, and or you can look into online programs or neighboring states that have the same tuition as if I live in Missouri. If I were to go to school in Illinois, they may just have the same price because we're neighboring states. So look into your options and address those. Write all of those down. If you're looking to move and try new things, then look at some other places. You don't have to feel stuck to stay at your current program. If you're in a BSW program and they do have an MSW program, if you want to try something else, just make sure that they're accredited. And if you're coming from an accelerated program, that the school that you're going to also has for their MSW an accelerated track. So look into what works or fits your needs. Set yourself up for success, and don't work or enroll yourself if you're not going to be able to manage it. So make sure that you're able to manage all of that's on your plate, because you can't predict what school is really going to, how much time it's really going to consume or take. You just have to kind of like play it by each semester, because some semesters might be a lighter load versus others might be, actually 40 hours a week that you have to invest into it. So just really think about all of the different programs do offer different hybrids, so full-time, part-time, especially now that coronavirus has like changed and altered the school system. You might find better opportunities that adapt better to your work schedule or your current life situation. So just look into that, be open to it. If you've done school in person your whole life and you're afraid to do online, you might find that an online program is actually more beneficial, and you will still be able to find that support that you still need. But my next big tip is to find an accredited program. That is probably one of the first things that you need to look at when you're looking at schools to apply to, is to make sure that they're coming from an accredited program. And you can look at that on their actual website, or you can look on the National Board of Social Works, I believe. So that's a huge thing that you need to be looking at. And also, if you're a BSW student, undergraduate student, you need to make sure that you are also coming from an accredited university. If you're not, they totally work with those who aren't. However, I think that the enrollment process or the application process might look a little bit differently for you. So just double check that when you're applying for school. So a big suggestion when you're applying for your MSW program is to talk to professors, talk to counselors, talk to advisors, talk to the person that is coordinating the master's program and recruiting students, and just make sure that you're getting all of your questions answered. Make sure that you're judging their communication skills, what that person knows about the program. Make sure that they're able to get all of your questions answered, and judge that as well when you're considering what school you want to look into. I want to look at programs that really go with what your life situation is looking like right now. If you're someone who wants to work or wants to work at least part-time, then that's what you can do. And if you want to work full-time, then that's what you can do. But you need to make sure that that's manageable for you while you're in school, so that you are meeting all of your credits and things like that. Next thing I wanted to talk to you guys is about a specialty. So if you are looking for a specialty, whether that's business administration and social worker, maybe a clinical social worker, then that's something that you need to look at when you're applying for an MSW program. Are you wanting to work with a specific population and get specific training and data and research and exposure to that? And does that school offer those opportunities for you? What do they do in order to make sure that you are continuing to learn and making sure that your specialty is being fed into, so that you're challenged and that you're actually able to focus on that for a specific amount of time. I personally went into a specialty of clinical social work, but you don't have to have a specialty. And if your program doesn't have a specialty, that doesn't mean that they don't care or they're not good enough school. It just means that, some schools don't just have specialties. So, but if that is something that you are looking into as a specialty, make sure that you're asking about that or inquiring about that when you are applying for school. Next thing is the huge part, is to gather all of your documents. Make sure that you're actually paying attention to the deadlines that they've set, the requirements and documents and essays and references and transcripts and everything else that they need. Make sure you print out that list or you create a list, so you'll be able to check things off as you complete them. Make sure you give yourself enough time to turn in those documents, especially if you have references and you have a professor or a mentor or an employer who may take a little bit a while getting back to you. Normally, if you put a stress on that and provide them with the envelope to send straight, they don't have to pay, they just have to drop it off on the mailbox, or you can come and pick it up, then that works perfectly. But create a scenario that encourages them to get it done as fast as they can, send it in so that you aren't missing one thing to complete your application, or you aren't running behind and everything else gets there and your transcript gets there 2 days after the deadline's already closed and they don't have it, and so you have to wait a whole semester or year before you can apply again. So you don't want to waste money, you don't want to waste people's time, so just make sure that you're preparing as best as you can. Also, on certain websites, they'll tell you what the course load looks like for each semester, typically for a specific specialty or just overall for their courses. So if you're coming from an accelerated track, that obviously cuts down on a lot of those foundational classes for your MSW, but if you aren't, you're going to have to take those foundational classes. That also gives you a better understanding or perspective of what the next couple of years will look like. So if you're coming from an accelerated track, then of course, if the program's 3 years part-time, you might only be in the program for 2 years or 1.5. Or if you're going full-time and the program's 2 years and you're coming from accelerated track, you're only going to be in 1 year. And then you'll be able to tell what semesters will be heavier. So maybe you can work a little bit more the first 2 semesters and cut back your hours on the 3rd and 4th. So just look at those things, consider those things when you're looking into applying. Also, see if they have a probational period. Maybe you don't have the perfect GPA. Ask about that before you apply, and send them all of your money and your references and things like that. If they'll still accept you conditionally pending your last semester grades, if you're still in school, and or what they can do if they'll accept you, and if you meet the requirements with a certain GPA your first semester, if they'll continue to let you through the program. Also, for me, when I was applying for grad school, I needed a stats class, but it was a requirement for my BSW and also my school for my undergrad degree period. And so going into a new school, they did require a stats class. So knowing that when I was applying and also doing my research before I applied, I had to sign up for a stats class at a community college here and still do all of that paperwork and then send all of my transcripts and stuff to the school, because I was conditionally accepted pending I passed the stats class and provided them with all of that information. So just make sure that you have all of the requirements, and that if you needed to take a class or two before you're fully enrolled into the program, that you make sure that you're doing all of that you need to do with that school, or if you are getting it from the same school that you're applying to, that all of that's taken care of. So just check for the required classes to apply and enroll. Talk to the teachers, use sample plans and courses for the semester, gather all of your documents, talk to your references and make sure that they're reliable. And also you need at least a 3.0 GPA when you are applying for MSW. And it has to be like the social work GPA. And my last advice is to apply for scholarships. You never know what situations or opportunities scholarships can present to you, especially if you're someone that's paying for school out of pocket like I was. Scholarships were definitely very helpful, and it was actually extra income for me. So if you are someone that's into scholarships, or you want to have the opportunity to possibly get a scholarship, apply when you initially enroll into the school and in the program, and then also throughout the semesters that you're in school, so that when the time does come, that you're able to use that money whenever or however necessary. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. Like I said, I will have more detail, more in-depth, a longer video of all of my suggestions on, I just go more into depth on everything that I just told you, more details about how to apply, what it looks like, my experiences, and I hope that you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.